Ho ho! Welcome in to the first edition of Inside the Memer Studio. I've been asked to do this a few times in the past, and I'm happy to do it now for the patrons especially, give you guys some tips and pointers. I'll focus, every week as much as I can on questions that get asked, so feel free to send me direct messages whenever or group chat. The question I get asked the most is, which apps do I use? So this is my visual folder. Typically, I have to go through multiple programs or apps. Usually 2 to 3, 4, 5 I'm using to get one meme done. Now, the benefit of that is you can save several different variations along the way, and that alone has several benefits. One being, if you mess up on one of your more recent editions, you can trace your steps back and edit the old one. You can also revisit it in different formats, different meme formats in the future. So things like that. You can also, you're documenting the creation process, so you can prove that it was yours, that you made it. So that's the other benefit. What I'll try to do today is focus on one app in particular. I'll tie in a second one because they do kind of the same thing and go hand in hand somewhat. The reason being that they'll allow you to create PNG files, and why we want PNG files is they're going to be the type of images that we can save that have transparent backgrounds. And the benefit of that is you can save all of these in a specific folder on your phone, computer, wherever, and stockpile these, so whenever a new meme comes up, you just have a database of faces of characters to go through, and you're not wasting time. It might take a while to build this up, but that's the benefit of doing it. So MagicEraser is what's going to allow us to do that. Most of these have some kind of ads pop up, so that this one probably didn't cost any money if it has ads. So you just click out. As you can see, that one had 6 seconds of video. You just have to wait for it, unfortunately. Now, I will say, anything that I think is worthwhile makes my life easier in terms of meme making and cost money. I just buy it. I mean, the most I've spent is probably like $10, but it's a one-time thing. Between that folder you just saw, I probably spent like $20 over the course of a year or two. So not a huge investment at all. Most of these apps only cost $2 to $3. So we need a picture first. Let's just do a Drake meme to make things easier. I saw a question about clean pictures over top of other images. So Drake meme is an easy one to tackle. So starting from the beginning, let's get a Tony picture. All right, this is the first one that comes up. I'm going to save it, but just want to point out that you can just look at this, and at least I can, and see that it's kind of pixelated. You're usually going to want to pick images from the HD section of Google. It's just going to look better, and it's going to be easier in terms of scaling and things of that nature. I'm kind of anal about that kind of thing. It really all depends on the quality you're going for. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm saving this one. It kind of goes perfect with the top of a Drake meme. So we need the bottom half where he's happy. That one's pretty decent, but his head's cut off too much, so I don't want to use that. That one's not bad. All right, so when I'm in a situation like this, I'll come up here. I'll just get specific with the search. This will work perfect. But again, like to reiterate, I usually come over here and click on HD and select from this list. All right, so we got our 2 pictures. I already have the Drake stock photo, so you're gonna need to find that. If you're looking for stock photos, all you have to do for pretty much anything, Drake meme stock photo, or you could write template. I mean, these types of things are going to come up. Maybe better to do blank template. Yeah. So fine, I'll just do this one. Stay cohesive. All right, so we're here, MagicEraser. Down here at the bottom, you'll see that you can select different types of formats. Now, this isn't just the format of what you're selecting to take out. It's what the size of the photo is gonna be when you're done erasing. So I like to keep it original, whatever it is. If I'm changing it to anything, it's probably gonna be square. And if you hit square, that's just the dimensions of a typical Instagram photo. You know it's gonna fit inside the borders and it's not gonna go out of that. It's gonna fit full to frame. And that's usually why I choose that one. So let's just choose that for simplicity's sake again. Now, if we're going to erase the entire background, this is going to be a little bit different of a process, but since we're just focusing on the head, we'll come down here to the bottom. There's the eraser tool, second from the left. On the very bottom right, there is a bar. If you put your finger down on it and scroll back and forth, you'll see this green dot getting larger and smaller here. That's the eraser, the size of the cursor. The smaller circle at the bottom that's not moving right now, it's just a green circle. That is the cursor offset. That's where your finger is going to be when you're putting your finger down to actually erase this. So what you're putting your finger down, the eraser is going to be something you can see in front of your finger. That's the benefit of that. Some people don't like it, some people do. I'm used to it. I usually put this a little bit bigger side. Usually the bigger the easier it is for something like this with a simple shape. If you're going to erase the background, you probably just come in and just erase everything, and it's just cut and dry, simple. But you're gonna have to come back in when you're done doing this and just get closer. And that's kind of annoying to me, because you see what's going on here is that I'm protruding onto the space on his shirt when I get close in those little situations, and it's just not how I think it's easier to do. So I'm just gonna undo all this. What I like to do, I'll stay with the eraser, is just zoom in, start anywhere. Here's the other benefit of this app. You can put your finger down. You'll see where the cursor is going to be, and it's not recording your moves yet. It's not going to just start erasing. You can just put it down and just see where it's going to be. But at any rate, you can zoom in using both two fingers. You're going to zoom in, put your finger down anywhere, just go to an edge and go around the perimeter. I'll try to do this a little fast so we're not spending a whole lot of time on this. I like to sometimes go a little bit over the line, because you can always take away from a photo. Adding to it's going to be a little bit more difficult. If you are further down the line, you'll have to go back and do this all again. So that's why sometimes I like to do it a little bit wide when it comes to the selection of everything that I'm erasing here. All right, cool. So we're done erasing in here. So once you're done doing that, you go back to the bottom. There's a button second from the right. Looks like something from Pokemon, and click on it. That is the invert mask. So it basically just selects the opposite of what you just erased in any case, whatever it is. So that looks pretty clean. Click on these buttons here on the bottom, the white and black, scrolling through so you can see if you messed up. If you did mess up, let me just start over. Let's just say I missed a spot. Let's just say I missed a bunch of spots, and let's just say I didn't see all this crap right there. That's what it's going to look like when you're editing, going through this, and you might not see it until you zoom in. But you just click on restore. Let's make this bigger again. And you just make sure that all those gaps are filled in. Notice also how in black that looks pretty clean. You took it in white, not so much. So So you just zoom in. Again, you're using 2 fingers to zoom in on this app. I'm still stuck in restore. There's an undo button. It's great about this app. Come down to erase, and I just get as close as I possibly can. Erase all the black lines. You can zoom out. That's why I say it's easier with the bigger cursor, because you're just using an eraser now to get close, and you're not selecting an a group of area with the cursor anymore. You're just coming in. Now it also, you might notice, it looks kind of pixelated when we erase. Part of that is because the photo is lower quality, like I said. Other part is when we zoom in pretty close. That's going to happen in even the high res photos, but you can really get close even still with those pixels being visible. You can still get pretty close and you'll see which ones that you actually like have to get rid of if you want it to look like as clean as possible. Again, this kind of all goes back to what you want. I'm kind of anal about these things, so that's why I do things this way. I won't spend a lot of time on this. All right, so good enough, right? Yeah, I say so. So I'll show you another trick in the other app, but notice how, like I said before, the size of the image now is the same as it was in the original. It's just his head is the only thing that's visible. So top right, save icon here, PNG on the right, transparent, JPEG on the left is white, as you can see. We want transparent, high res. Other good thing about this app, if you hit done, you're back here. So let's say you wanted to add his body. You click on the restore button, come down here, and you can just fill it in and do your thing. I'm going to go back. A lot of these apps don't do that. When you're done, they just start over. So you have to start over each time. So yes, I want to start over. We want this one now. Now I'm going to show you what I mean when it comes to these style formats. Like ordinarily I'd leave it at original because I want a big photo, but I'm just going to make it smaller. Benefit is it limits the amount of work you have to do. But if we're only erasing the face, like I said, all it takes is just erasing the face and then inverting it. So not really a complicated process as it might seem at the beginning. So hit done. Same process. I'm going to be quick here and just get as much as possible, as quick as possible. All right, invert this, double check that we didn't miss any spots on the inside. Doesn't look like it. I would still like to clean this up just a little bit. So you can mess around with the size again. You can come in here and get small and get as close as you possibly can. Sorry if I'm moving fast. You see like little spots like that. Anything that shows like a definitive line I like to get rid of. Just makes it blend a little bit easier. I'm going to show you another thing when I bring it into the next app that will help you also in these situations. Now, did I have to get that close? No, I definitely did not. Also, not knowing exactly how this is going to look on the Drake meme, I'm probably going to add a little bit here just in case, because like I said, we can always erase, can't always add. So I'm just going to add a little extra. I'm going to save this. The next app is called PhotoLayers up here in the top right. This one you can create PNGs in also. it does what the name is. It's basically anytime you have a bunch of PNGs in a background image that you can want to layer on top, this is going to be the easiest way to edit it and manage all the layers and it look the nicest, and you have some like editing capability like while it's all loose on the canvas, if that makes sense. So click on the background and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to select our Drake meme. This is the canvas. The background image is the canvas. It doesn't move. You can edit the lighting by clicking on it. There's little options that will come up. Brightness, contrast, saturation, blur. Now, let's say you mess this up and you don't like that. Click on the actual word where it says brightness. Click on it. It takes it back to the default spot for all of them. Just click on them. So here we are. So we're going to add the PNGs that we saved. Notice again how I said that the entire image is pretty big now, and I do that on purpose because it gives me some capability. I'm going to show you the difference. So here I can put my finger down on that bottom right corner and I can scale it and still see what the head is doing. When I add this one where the area around it is smaller, we can even make it smaller so I can really show you. I think the natural tendency is to do this, is to make your photos like as tight as possible. I just don't prefer it that way because it just you don't have as much freedom. So here's the size of that. It just is a lot more. I have to put my finger on his face to move him. And I know it sounds like I'm being nitpicky, but that's my reason for it. My reason for that is because I just have to, I don't have as much, it's just not as easy. So I like to make things as easy as possible. Here I can put my finger on anywhere and I can move him around and I can see his head moving. I don't have to move my finger. I don't have to like put it down and then move it again. So anyway, I guess the bad part about this app is the background. I can't just like zoom in on the background at any moment like I can in MagicEraser. But if I'm trying to match up for scale here, the only tip I can give you that I use is matching up the eyes and the mouth. If you can match them up where they're at the same basic distance apart, you know that their scale is going to be close. It might always work in terms of fitting over something. That's pretty close though. Notice his head's on a little bit of a tilt. Bottom left is that pink semicircle with an arrow, you can tilt it. So that's another way. You can just put it right next to it, like literally right next to it. Compare them that way. Looks like I'm a little small there, so I'll bring it up. The button on the top right, the red circle, you can change the rotation and the size at the same time. So clicking on it, I can resize it and do all that. Another bad part about this app, I just moved all this and there's no undo button. So I have to do all that again. Now if this is, like all out of whack and you want it straight, the top left button with that orange icon that looks like a slice of pizza pie, click on that and it will rotate you back each time you click it. All right, so starting the process over again, get the tilt, get the scale close, place it over. We're done. No, we're not. All right, so you want to get that. Technically, that's fine. But some people want to get a little bit closer than that. So click on the photo. If you want to make it as clean, click on these buttons here on the bottom that look like an abacus. And you can do the same thing that I was showing you with the background controls, only you have a little bit more options here. The alpha is the opacity. So you see when you bring the opacity down that basically there's some overlapping spots that we could trim out that would make it look more like his head is inside the jacket. So leaving it like that, click on the scissors. Now the bottom left it looks like a piece of paper with a shadow under it or another black piece of paper. If you click on that, you can see the background. again, double fingers to zoom. This app in particular will it's really sensitive to every time you touch the area you have the eraser on. Right now we're in manual eraser. If you want to just zoom, bottom right, just click on zoom and you can touch everywhere and it's not going to do anything. The auto repair is if you want to do like a mass area of like one color. So if I click on that, like how it's taking on a color. This does have an undo over here, so don't worry about erasing in here. Since I don't exactly know, it won't let me show the opacity in this one. So since I know the general area, I'm just going to erase where I know I might need to fill in. So you see the areas there that need to be filled in. If you click on repair, it still is a little bit convoluted here. So this isn't like the perfect app. It's the best at what I think I need in achieving this stuff, but this is pretty user friendly. You just come in here, as long as the areas are easy to see, it's really not hard to navigate through and see like where you actually need to restore these. If you need to change the size of the cursor, you can do that at the bottom. Now, I'm not sure what that's going to look like right now because the image is messed up. So if you click back on manual, you'll see what it's going to look like. Now, if you want to just look at it, you click done. Like I said, this all depends on like how much you want to do. Now, if you still think that one side in the face, I know you can't see it right now, but that left side of his face we thought was a little bit pixelated. The feather here at the top basically softens the edges the higher up you go. So notice the higher up, now he looks kind of like a ghost. Bring it all the way down, it's just like that's how it was imported. That's how you saved it. It's brought in a little bit softer by default. You can mess with that a little bit, and a lot of times you're going to notice that more than others. And this one is probably not going to make like that much of an effect. But that's one way to clean up things a little bit closer when you can't get so close. So pretty much the desired effect though achieved there by adding an image, transparent image on top of another one, and editing it to look a little bit more cohesive and natural. The downside of a Drake meme, it's yellow. I mean, his face is yellow, so you're not going to be able to match skin tones. Same process here. His head's tilted back, so it's not going to be perfect. Matching up the eyes and the mouth doesn't really matter to me if it's going into the next image on top of it. We'll go through the same process here. Another bad side about this I'll show you is that notice how his head is, we changed that angle. When I go in to edit it though, it's how the original is, and there's nothing I can do about that in here. Let's say we needed to, this bottom left two-sided arrow can flip the direction, so if we have to do that, we're still going back to how it is originally. So that's kind of annoying. Like I said, not a perfect app, but it's user friendly and it's good at, it's the best at what I need it to do for me. So same process, coming back in here. Some of these areas are going to be easier to edit than others. The editing inside this app is the hardest part about the app, I'd say. There are going to be other apps that can help you do this before, but also notice how I said how this one picks up everything. You can hit the undo button to get back to where you were, or you can restore it. See, like I said, it gets convoluted. I'm in repair. It automatically shows what you can restore, but that oftentimes distorts what you can see. It's just going to take some practice and getting used to. As cliche as that sounds. But, not a perfect image, but pretty much what we're going for. If we're trying to, make it look like a little bit nice here. Make it more like the shape of his face. If you don't like the if you matched up the eyes and the mouth and you just don't like the way it looks, you can always resize it. I mean, like, this is a meme. Not the Mona Lisa. All right, so hopefully that helps you guys. You know, if you have any questions, you know, always send them to me and I'll do my best. The other good thing about this app that I'll point out now too is we just edited both of these. So let's say you wanted to save this photo up here, this top one, because we cutted it, and you wanted to make sure that the next time you do a Drake meme that you can just save it. Or that makes no sense, but let's just say you edit one in here and you want to save it the way it is. You can click on this second from the right bottom button that looks like a downward facing arrow in a box, and you can save that as a PNG file. So you save it, and just to show you the difference, here's what we just saved, and that was the original. So like I said, some benefits to this app too. Let's say you just wanted to clean up a meme or a PNG that you just made. You don't have to have a background. You can just click on add image, add what you wanted. Now, basically everything that looks like a transparent background right now, the gray and white dots, when you just add an image, that is now the size of the canvas, basically. So when you save your image like this, that's what it's going to look like. But let's just say you wanted to clean it up a little bit and you couldn't get so close. You can bring this up, mess with the feather a little bit, you know, make it like as smooth as you want it. You can brighten it up, bring the contrast down, up, whatever you want to do. And then you can save it from here also as a PNG. So they go hand in hand together. I use them together a lot. And that's basically